Hello all, and welcome to the newest episode of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. I'm Austin. I'm a knockout. Watched a lot of wrestling.
I'm David. I'm a noob. Haven't watched nearly as much wrestling. And I'm not gonna lie. I don't really have a thing prepared to say today. But oh boy, diddly, am I gonna watch some more?
Yep. David coming live from his phone this week.
Yeah.
Anyway, today we are going to continue. We almost timed this out well because this is the 25th. A couple weeks back was the 25th anniversary of Bash at the Beach 1996, which was kind of the big moment for the NWO. But
yeah, I actually saw that pop up on Facebook like a couple days ago. And I was like, oh wait, this is a thing. And I stopped watching kind of when I realized what it was. I didn't want to even though I know the story beat that happens, I don't want to ultimately spoil it.
Yeah, you want to see it for the first time next time we do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could have timed out that one of our NWO episodes was during NWO week, but alas, that's not how our schedule works. And I don't think, I don't make those kind of arrangements. But yes, today we are continuing with the storyline, the birth of the NWO. We're 2 weeks from the debut of Scott Hall's debut. We're looking at the June 10th, 96 episode of Nitro of WCW Monday Nitro, where Scott Hall reveals he has a big surprise coming.
Yeah, the war, as it were. This whole thing feels, from everything Austin's told me, like it's going to be just an exercise in suspense. We have, it seems like it's going to be a very or at least a rather slow burn to kind of the big explosive reveal that WCW managed to pull out of their ass for this storyline.
Yeah, we are quite a bit. I'd not say quite a bit. We're about a month. I would say a month-ish away from like the moment. But first, we got to get to this part. We got it from like the moment that people were talking about. We just passed the 25th anniversary of. But for now, Scott Hall is continuing to kind of be a menace, and he's swearing war. And before we get into what happened on Nitro on June 3rd, is kind of like our build up. I'll go ahead and mention some real world drama that was going on at this point in time. Is because, while WCW might think they're cute to be like, this isn't Razor Ramon, wink, wink. WWE notice, and so in betweening 2 weeks of these two episodes that we're covering, WWE sent them a cease and desist for Scott Hall because they're like, "What are you doing? That's kind of looks like you're using our character there on your TV screen."
See, it's funny you mention that because I was thinking about kind of on the other end. He's not actually Razor Ramon, wink, wink, wink. So, and you said something about like, well, that's the legal confusion argument, and I was wondering if that was gonna like actually come up as a thing. I guess I'm not surprised that WWF got litigious about it. But I also was wondering, if there was a chance that WCW was just gonna like skate by on this one at all.
There is a long lawsuit about this. It goes.
Oh shit!
They have a law. They fight about this in court until the year 2000.
Fuck.
This is the start of this because WCW's response when they got the cease and desist, ignore it. We're still going.
Yeah,
we're not changing our plans on this for the moment.
So, what was, if I may ask, what was the ultimate like decision in the year 2000?
Oh, you see, I feel like I'm not ready to talk about the full lawsuit yet till we get a little later down the road.
Okay.
So But for now, I just wanted to let you in on this: is that the legal action has begun of WWE. They're not stupid. They know what WCW is doing.
Yeah, they know what's going on here. Well,
they're having none of that.
They tried.
Yeah, but in the terms of the storyline, they're not going to quite acknowledge it yet. So to set up, so then what happened on Nitro is, because it's only one episode, I actually went in bit by bit about this one, and so I'm going to go ahead and say what happened, segment by segment. The show opened on June 3rd with a promo from the Shark. You might remember from last time, he got his head forcefully, Big Bubba Rogers cut half of his hair after he got squashed by the Giant. And then he cuts this promo, and first of all, he talks about how he didn't finish cutting his hair. His head is still half shaved. And he gives this explanation of he wants to be constantly reminded of the humiliation as a motivational tactic. Okay. When he looks in the mirror, or when his neighbors give him the side eye, he wants to remember what Big Bubba did to him. So for the time being, he's got half hair. He also has announced that his name isn't the Shark. He's not a shark. He makes light of his other name too. He talks about he's not an avalanche, making light of when he was in the natural disasters in WWE. He said his name is John Tenta. That is his real name. And so he gets this whole, this is I'm for serious now because I'm using my real name to wrestle.
Oh, shit, buddy.
And then he has a match with Big Bubba that he wins by count out, because basically John Tenta does 2 moves to Big Bubba. And then Bubba's like, wait, I don't want this match. I don't care what happens. I'm just going to leave.
And he leaves? That's it?
And then he leaves. That's the end of the match. That's how it ends.
Yeah, shit. Well,
we also get
sticking up for himself.
We get the reveal that Big Bubba has kept John Tenta's hair in his pocket for a week, like a weirdo.
That's really weird.
Yeah, so Big Bubba skirts off here because he realized that actually it doesn't matter that he did that he's supposed to wrestle right now. He doesn't want to be here. From there, we get some tag team action between. We get the Nitro debut of High Voltage, Chaos, and Ruckus. They're 2 muscular dudes in bright green neon. That's their shtick, really. And they get annihilated by the Faces of Fear. That's Ming and the Barbarian. I mentioned they were a tag team last time. I didn't remember their name. They're the Faces of Fear.
It sounds very serious business to me.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because they're supposed to be the heels, but the crowd cheers them because they're 2 beefy dudes throwing people around, and they're like, hey, that's really entertaining. I love
the crowd, dude. I love the crowd. Just the chaos element the crowd always manages to throw into shows is so beautiful, and it warms my heart. They have a mind of their own, and they don't give a singular shit sometimes.
No. And then we get a backstage promo between Sting and Luger, where Mean Gene is like, hey Lex, what you doing? What were you doing last week? Why'd you interfere in Sting's match? And Luger defends himself as he's like, he was provoked by the Steiners. And Sting, he does point out that Lex kind of started it by attacking Scott, but Sting sticks up for Lex over it, because as he takes the route of he was just trying to protect me, his best friend, and the Steiners interrupt and start yelling.
Of course.
Trying to start shit. But then it's Sting and Luger. On this episode, it will be Sting and Luger versus the Steiner brothers for the tag team championships in the main event.
That's going to be interesting to see play out, just because of the dynamic you told me about with Sting and Luger. See if Luger's going to pull some bullshit to mess with his friend. Well,
oh no, sorry, that's the main event of this episode I'm talking about. That's the main event of the June 3rd episode.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, let's see. Then we had Sergeant Craig Pittman versus Disco Inferno. That had an amusing kind of an end to it, in that Sergeant Craig Pittman threatened to put Disco in an arm submission, and Disco quit. He submitted to nothing, and he explains after the match that, like, if he had let Pittman put that hold on him, he wouldn't be able to keep doing the dance. He could have gotten injured.
Are you serious? Is that really it?
Yes, that is the character motivation, is that he wouldn't be able to do like the Disco Fever move if he hurt his arm, so he had to quit before Pittman hurt his arm.
You know, it feels really weird that story beats like that exist in the same like timeline era, whatever, as the NWO. Like, on one hand, you have this like really gritty, like realism, meta commentary storyline to headline everything, and then you have really goofy shit like that. And I mean, I suppose it's kind of understandable, because you also have things like Summer of Punk, which also the whole thing is a meta commentary and it's edgy and gritty and realistic and whatever. And then at the same time, you have R-Truth accidentally convincing himself that Jimmy Hart is little Jimmy. But like, this just feels on a whole other level of goofy.
No, I enjoy it enough, but I'm not crazy about Disco Inferno. Then we get Lord Steven Regal versus Jim Duggan in a match that's a complete goddamn mess. First of all, we get the announcement that Sting versus Lord Steven Regal will happen at the next pay-per-view, the Great American Bash, which I will be watching solo as prep for the next part of this. But that is the feud. They're feuding right now, and so you'd think that this would be a match that really puts over how strong Steven Regal is, because he's facing Sting. Well, you'd think that, but you've never seen Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Like, I don't know what it is, but I have never seen Hacksaw Jim Duggan just lose clean. Ever. Like, he always wins or loses by some bullshit. And bullshit was had where, first of all, you get interference from all three members of the Blue Bloods, Dave Taylor, Robert Eaton, and Jeeves. They all show up to interfere. Then Hacksaw decides to try to grab his fucking 2x4, because I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but he carries a 2x4 to the ring, and he just rahs with it. He's very dumb. I'm sorry again. I hate Jim Duggan. Sorry, he's one dimensional even for a character that is Murica. He's one dimensional even for that. But so he tries to use the 2x4, and one of the Blue Bloods gets it away from him. So he starts taping his fists, because now suddenly he's recently had this new thing where he tapes his fists, and it's basically like a super punch move. But don't worry, Steven Regal is able to trick him and roll him up for a pinfall after also grabbing the tights, which is cheating. So all this to get Steve Regal the dub.
But it's an unclean dub?
No, it's about as cheap and dirty of a dub as humanly possible to do.
You know what? British ingenuity. I'm going to give it to him anyway, because, yeah, I agree with you thus far. Fuck Jim Duggan.
Yeah, no. Then Steven Regal I enjoyed it. He cuts this very funny promo. He gets another post-match promo, and he starts talking down Sting, and he is like, they show they show a backstage clip from like last week, I guess, sometime in the past. Actually, I think it might have actually been one of the like WCW's minor shows. That's it. I don't remember which one. They have a few like BC shows that we don't watch, but he like Steven Regal like backhand fisted Sting, and according to Regal, he got fined for that. And he talks about how it was a fine so great it's more than some of you peasants make in a year. And then he goes, he paid it. He says that he paid double. He paid it twice. So now I'm on credit. And I hope to God that comes up at some point.
I really hope so too.
I hope that he does some cheap shoddy thing and is like, I already paid. I'm on credit. I already paid that fine.
That would be great, and I really hope that actually pays dividends. Because on its own, it's kind of stupid. But like if it actually pays off, no pun intended, that would be the funniest shit in the universe. I would love that. The best narrative planning and payoff on wrestling ever.
Yep. That Steven Regal paid double on a fine, so that would pay off a future fine.
Put it on credits. Oh my God.
No, it's great. So then we get the Taskmaster versus Prince Iakea. I don't really know how to explain his character because he's kind of a jobber at this point in time. But it's basically make Taskmaster look great because he's on a collision course with Chris Benoit. So it's like, just, get him a win so that he looks good. That's all.
Increase those power levels.
Yep. And then him and Jimmy Hart have a promo, and Taskmaster calls out the fact that Hulk Hogan is coming back soon. And he expresses concern because he's still keeping up this idea of the Dungeon of Doom and destroying Hulkamania, even though the whole thing has kind of fallen apart by this point. Like the Dungeon of Doom still exists, but it barely exists, and they all look like schmucks except for the Giant. So just kind of holding on. But he's talking down Hulk Hogan, and he says that, soon Hogan will be back to destroy all of his enemies or something along those lines. And it's like, very, very relevant thing. Very good accidental foreshadowing, this Taskmaster.
I mean, that has to be like intentional in the writing, right?
No, because at this point it was not confirmed that Hogan was gonna do it.
Wait, really?
Yep, that was a last second thing that they knew for sure that Hogan was going to do it.
So wait, hold up. This is kind of blowing my mind. They had planned for it, but they didn't have Hogan on board with it until the last second.
Yep. I think they always knew they wanted Hogan to do it, but they didn't have confirmation from him that he'll do it.
Was there a particular reason that he was so hardball about it?
He was scared about the concept of turning
heel.
Yeah, he was afraid of what that would hurt his career. But so he wasn't all in on the idea. It's been said that they were considering using Sting in his spot if Hogan backed out. Sting was the backup plan.
I love Sting. That would have been lame as shit.
It would, it wouldn't work the same way.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, so and then he's running down. He's running down the Horseman because Taskmaster. Excuse me, he's running down the Horseman because he's fighting Benoit. Yeah. That is the next pay-per-view. Okay. Then we get a heck of a match between the Four Horsemen. And we're back from our technical difficulties, as I was saying.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I was talking about.
Let's see.
Horsemen and Rock and Roll. Got it.
Yeah, Rock and Roll. That, yeah.
Rock and Roll Express. Yes, they were big. They were big in the territorial South in the 80s, and basically they are one of the greatest tag teams of all time. They basically revolutionized the most typical style of Southern of tag team wrestling. The idea in terms of match structure, in terms of like the bad guys beating up on one member of the team to lead into the big heroic comeback moment to tag in the other guy, and then he takes down the two bad guys. Rock and Roll Express hugely popularized that formula.
I'm sorry, I'm just hung up on Rock and Roll Express as a title, like as a name. It's beautiful.
Yep, it's a good time. So the Horsemen and the Rock and Roll Express. This is kind of their debut on Nitro. They get a little bit of a run here in WCW. It's a great match. But the Horsemen get the win after Woman gives an assist. And suddenly we have another promo of the Horsemen going insane. Ric Flair going crazy.
Of course.
So they're talking about their match in the next pay-per-view against Mongo McMichael and Mean Kevin Greene. And suddenly Bobby Heenan runs off commentary to go talk to the Horsemen. And he offers they try to get him to sign on as a manager. And he's like, no, I promise I'm not managing. I'm never managing anyone again. And Ric Flair with the incredibly hilarious line while they're turning him down. Flair's a stunt. And he goes, what about the women? What about the women? What? As if like, I don't see how they're benefiting from Heenan being around, but like, apparently Flair thinks it.
Think of the women, Heenan. Do it.
Yeah.
You coward.
But it was all a bit of a little trick, because Heenan he walks off to be like, I'm not managing them. He comes back, he brings out this briefcase, and in the briefcase is this like trophy he has. It's for the All Madden team, is what that is. I don't know enough about pro football. I don't know enough about pro football in that sense to know what that means or what that's about. But he swears that he has coaching experience, so he won't be their manager for their match against the football players, but he will be their coach.
Sure. Why not? What?
No, it's kind of silly, but kind of wild. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. We get I wrote this down, Hogan ego stroking highlight video. We get this extremely long video that kind of just shows a bunch of highlights of Hogan's career in WCW. It'll just be like, I'll be back soon, brother. Like that's all it is. And it's just like, really? We needed this? Okay. He's not here. He's not going to be back for a few more weeks. What? Why?
They already kind of did that in the first WCW episode we watched, though. So the fact that they're going to continue to do that, why not?
Yeah, it's even more, ego stroking than what we watched last time. It's longer and more annoying.
Yeah, well, welcome to Hulk Hogan's career. Each ego stroke is longer and more annoying than the last.
And okay, I'm going to stop myself there from making a joke.
Hey, I'm just saying, there's a difference between Hogan and Terry Bollea, okay? That's all I'm saying.
Hogan's ego stroke. Hogan's ego stroke is much longer
than Terry Bollea's is. Oh, Christ.
Anyway, we move on to Ice Train versus the Giant for the WCW Championship, because apparently this is just the shtick now of like the Giant beating up all of the other like Haas dudes in WCW.
He's got to prove himself. It's a rite of passage.
In this like, apparently there can be only one scenario.
There can be only one large dude. Yeah, obviously. Duh,
sure.
Them's the rules.
So he squashes Ice Train, as in he literally wins in like 15 seconds.
Yikes.
Then Scott Norton comes out to defend his tag team partner, and the Giant's like, fuck you, I'll also kick your ass. So he gives Scott Norton 2 choke slams, 2 of them, and then he leaves. And this segues into what was supposedly the next match of Scott Norton versus Hugh Morris. And Hugh Morris is like here to pick the bones, because he's like, well, I'm here for my match now. And so we get a lot of him like beating down on Scott Norton, and he's setting up for his finishing move, which is like, it's like a moonsault off the top rope, but he faces away. He starts facing away from his opponent and flips onto them. While he does that, Scott Norton powers up and gets out and like is there to stop him. And they try to do this really cool move. What they were trying to do is that like Hugh Morris would flip off the top rope to do his move, and Scott Norton would catch him midair and slam him, and that's how he wins.
Yeah.
Would have been dope as shit. Except something went wrong, and so he didn't really catch Hugh Morris. More so, they just kind of lightly grabbed him out of the air. Like they both kind of stumble and fall out of the grab move and ruin the entire thing. But Norton just then like punches Hugh Morris in the face a few times and pins him for the win.
Gotta love a good botch.
We're just getting out of here. We already botched the big ending. Let's just go home.
Cut our losses while we can, right?
Yeah. And then we get an absolutely batshit promo from Mongo McMichael and Kevin Greene, where Kevin Greene doesn't seem to know the difference between football and wrestling. So, like, they're putting together a game plan, and Kevin Greene, all of his suggestions are stuff that makes sense in football. He even uses football terms. He's like, all right, Mongo, what you're going to do is you're going to do a chop block. You're going to chop block him right here, and then you're going to get in a 4-point stance and penetrate their line. He emphasizes this is very important. They need to penetrate the horseman's line. Penetrate him. Penetrate the horseman. And Mongo McMichael's like, no, this is wrestling. This is wrestling, baby. Like, no, it's totally different. And so he's trying to teach Kevin Greene how to do this, and Kevin Greene is not getting it. So he's like, we need a coach. And thankfully, Kevin Greene was conveniently eating a Slim Jim during this little shebang.
What?
So Mongo McMichael realizes the perfect coach for them. They need to call Macho Man.
What?
Yeah, so Ric Flair's two major feuds, we're bringing them together.
Oh,
that's the point. Is we're bringing together his two biggest feuds going at the same time.
And we did that through a Slim Jim product placement?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Then we get to our main event of the evening, Sting and Luger versus the Steiners. And I'll be honest, it was a decent match, but it would have been better if it was if they didn't stop interrupting to do other storylines. So, like, the first half of the match, the announcers aren't even talking about the match, because they do a bit where Savage calls into Nitro to accept Kevin Greene and Mongo McMichael's proposal to be their coach.
Okay.
So this is the entire focus of the first half of the match. Is Savage is on the phone.
Sure.
To be fair, it's very funny, especially when Heenan gets on the line with him, where Heenan tries to backtrack his way. Like Heenan gets terrified at the thought of Savage being the coach for the other team, because he thinks that Savage is going to kick his ass. So he's trying to be like, hey, Macho, don't do this. And then when Macho takes this as like evidence that he should do this because Bobby Heenan says he shouldn't, then Heenan tries to weasel out of getting hurt here, because he's like, whoa, you just remember, my problem's not with me. Your problem's not with me. I've always liked you. I've never said anything bad about you. Your problems are with Flair and Elizabeth. And then he throws Flair and Elizabeth under the bus, which is something I've never seen Heenan do, but I guess right place, right time for it.
Oh yeah,
ass.
You gotta.
Like he's like, well, that's the kind of thing that should never happen to us. That should never happen. It's a real tragedy. It's a terrible thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, you gotta save your own ass and throw people under the bus as needed. Like that's just the. Well, yeah, Bobby Heenan's heel, right?
Yeah, Heenan is a
yeah. That's just the heel way, baby. You just gotta fuck the relationships, fuck the alliances. You got to save your own ass at some point.
Yeah, the weasel gonna weasel.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't work, of course. Savage completely agrees to be in there to be the coach for McMichael and Greene. So that's how that's all going down. Meanwhile, I guess we have a match, I guess, for the tag team titles, whatever. Where they're going, and then the Giant shows up. Because remember, he and Luger are set to compete for the WCW title at the next pay-per-view. So first, he interferes and gives a choke slam to Rick Steiner on the concrete. That was the safest choke slam you've ever seen. Like he almost like sets him down gently on the concrete is a closer approximation. But then he starts attacking. He basically like pushes through the other wrestlers in the match to get to Luger, and that causes the referee to throw the match out. So it ends in a no contest. And the only kind of interesting story beat to that is that like eventually Sting and Scott Steiner get back in the ring, and there's a 3-on-1 on the Giant, as if these two guys their friendship has been tested, the Steiners and Sting, but they're all coming together to fight the Giant, common enemy.
Sure.
And they're able to 3-on-1, knock the Giant out of the ring and make him leave. So woo-hoo to that, I guess.
Yeah, sure. See you later, artist futurely known as Big Show.
And then the final bit is they're trying to sign off on the show. Scott Hall comes back out. He's doing his thing. He's there to antagonize Eric Bischoff. And he says a lot of the same stuff he said last time. And then the interesting thing is Sting shows up to confront Scott Hall. The first man to stand up to Scott Hall and the future NWO is Sting. And Bischoff tries to discourage him, saying it's not worth it. It's not worth talking to him. You're just gonna justify. You're gonna interacting with him. You're giving him credibility. To that sense. But Sting decides to lay down the law of being like, you don't belong here, and you keep talking about you bring your 3 best, and Scott Hall's like, yeah, and he's like, well, I don't see 2 people with you. Yeah. All that's here right now is you and me. So why don't we settle this 1-on-1 right now? And then Scott Hall is like, nah, I'm good. We're going to do this on my time, not yours. And then he says that he's got a big surprise. He signs off by saying he's got a big surprise next week.
Of course he does.
Yes, that brings us to the end of the June 3rd episode of Nitro. So the stage has been set. We'll be watching the June 10th, 1996 episode of Monday Nitro. If you would like to watch this episode, then you can look at peacock.tv. peacocktv.com. I say that wrong every time. I want it to be a .tv because that's Tubi is .tv. But peacocktv.com in the WWE section. It is, or on the WWE network if you are outside of the US or cool with using a VPN. It is $4.99 a month for ads, $9.99 a month without ads on Peacock, and the WWE network is $99 a month. You can also scour the interwebs for the June 10th, 1996 stuff on Nitro. I've been tight-lipped about it on this episode, but the big thing from this episode is you can easily look that up on YouTube or something. That's another one of those like historically important moments that gets brought up all the time.
Yeah, I feel like I like a lot of these matches. I feel you're able to find on YouTube decently easily. I've said this before, and I'll stick by this. A lot of times I'll just like randomly look up some of the matches Austin mentions or the matches that we watch, and I can find a lot of them on YouTube easy. So worst comes to worst, if you just search up the day of this broadcast plus WCW Nitro, you could probably find a lot of it.
Yeah, you can kind of piece together a good enough approximation of the episode. But until then, see you guys in the back half when we talk about it.
Yee.
And we are back. We have just finished the June 10th, 1996 episode of WCW Monday Nitro.
You know, this episode, I really felt like this wasn't a story about any of the wrestlers in the ring per se. I felt like this was a story of Eric Bischoff and fuck what the
Bobby Heenan
and Bobby Heenan. Jesus, Heenan was going hard. It was mostly a story about Bobby Heenan this entire episode. Heenan was having like a moment this whole time. Is he okay? Is he need to talk to somebody?
Heenan's always like that.
Yeah, but like he seemed to really be going off this week. He's got some money on the line, as it were. And
I mean, that might literally be the case. Heenan's literally bet on Flair before.
Oh well, unfortunate. But yeah, I just just as a general thoughts on this episode, like. The matches all were good. They're well, okay, not all were good. But for the the matches on a whole were diverting, and I had a decent enough time watching them. But the entire time I was just sitting there listening to Bobby Heenan aggressively lose his shit out of some like desperate attempt to cope with the whatever pants crapping terror he's feeling over having to face down Randy Savage's coached team.
The copium is very real right now.
The copium is so real. And the entire time, Bischoff's just going like, oh, come on, man.
Now, and both heel announcers were absolutely on something tonight.
Yeah.
You got Zbyszko in the front half.
Yeah. He was really going off. And Heenan in the back half was really going off. I was really feeling the moral tug of war between all the announcers tonight, I have to say.
Yeah.
More than usual, I think.
Very combative night at the announce desk.
Is there a particular reason why?
I don't know. I mean, I guess they were just I don't know what Zbyszko was going on about because he's not generally involved in storylines.
No, Zbyszko was like Zbyszko was pulling some Jerry Lawler level reaches here of like just every like little gotcha he could get on the on the faces while every like excuse he could pull out of his ass for the heels all just thrown out there in some sort of word jumble. It was kind of embarrassing. Honestly, I was like, you're
poor Zbyszko, he does not he's a very repetitive heel commentator. If you try to play a drinking game with the amount of times he calls Mongo McMichael Dumbo, you might die. Yeah. He's only on the show for an hour.
and the best part is both face commentators the entire time were just like, oh, come on, you. Don't say that.
WCW has like two face commentators that don't put up with bullshit.
Yeah, no, they're just like, oh, come on, like they're just pushing back. So that was my big takeaway just off the bat from this episode was like, man, commentary was just having a really rough night tonight. Like somebody got up on the wrong side of the bed. Multiple somebody's got up on the wrong side of the bed. And we're all just making it each other's problem tonight, huh?
Yeah. So I guess if this episode has an A plot, it would be the drama with the Horseman stuff.
What? Oh, God.
Okay. I don't know why they decided that Debra McMichael needed to be an on-screen character. But
pain. Okay. Nothing but pain.
Yeah, okay. So we start with after the first match of the show, where Scott Steiner beat Booker T. Nice fun match there. And then Steiner was getting interviewed by Mean Gene Okerlund. And then out of nowhere pops Debra McMichael, who is the wife of Steve McMichael and the person that Ric Flair keeps insinuating he's gonna have sex with as part of this thing with Mongo.
Yeah. What?
So Debra pops up for out of nowhere. Like she just kind of appears, like, and she's like, she interrupts this interview because she just really has to talk to Mean Gene right now. And like Gene was getting work all night long. I don't know why she needed to do this now.
Yeah, Gene was another surprising standout personality of this episode too, because he was really invested in this storyline, partially via Debra.
Yeah, Mean Gene is one of the more bigger personalities that have that backstage interviewer role, and he got plenty of time to show off tonight.
Yeah. I mean, this is the most I've seen him actually like engage as a character rather than just be like, "Ah, yes, well, that is certainly a thing you can say. I don't know how I feel about it, but that's certainly a most interesting quote." He's actually kind of interjecting himself here, and honestly, good for you, buddy. I'm glad to see you standing up for your principles.
Yeah. So Debra shows up and she's here to hand wring about the dangers of her husband Steve McMichael and Kevin Greene getting in the ring with the Horsemen. That's a real running theme that like they're putting their football, especially Kevin Greene, who again is still an active like all pro level football player at this point. He's really putting his career on the line to fight Ric Flair. And and she's just like, and Deborah's just like, I don't see why we have to fight over this. This being the part where Ric Flair insinuates he wants to have sex. He's going to have sex with me. That part. We don't. I don't see why we got to fight. Why can't we just talk it out? I see you're new. I see you're new to this.
I see. Yeah. Tell me you've never watched wrestling without telling me you haven't watched wrestling.
We'll just talk out our differences, and that'll be the end.
Yeah, we'll have we'll sit down and have a rational conversation. Fuck you.
No. So the interview is not great because Debra McMichael isn't very good at this. I'm not surprised. She's not a performer in any capacity.
She's doing her best, but
she's trying, but like, oh man, it's not working.
Buddy.
Mean Gene has to carry her through this.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about having him be such an invested character in all this is that he gets to show off that he's like good enough on commentary that he can carry even some pretty bad performers through their promo cutting. He's good at like prompting them and what have you.
Oh yeah, he's very
his
good.
Charisma more than makes up for her lack thereof.
Yeah, he's very good at prompting people to start giving answers.
Yeah,
he was looking for. So they go backstage, and he tries to set up a conversation with Bobby Heenan, who is the coach of the Horsemen. and of course Heenan he's an asshole about it.
Heenan's losing his shit again. Is he okay?
No.
So
he takes Debra into the locker room with the four horsemen, and they're not in there but 5 seconds. Like it's very like Heenan shuts the door on Mean Gene so they can't see what's going on in there, and Mean Gene tries to hears a scream immediately and tries to hear what's going on in there, and then suddenly Debra busts out.
Yeah.
And right. I did make a joke to David that there was a non-zero chance that Ric Flair whipped his cock out, and to be fair, I stand by that.
No, I don't disagree with that. That sounds like a thing Ric Flair would do.
It's a thing Ric Flair literally did in real life. That's why I made the joke that way.
Oh no.
He's done that. He's pulled that move before. That's why I said it.
No. Ricky. Funny.
Anyway, Anyway, so Ric Flair comes chasing her out of the locker room.
Am I right?
Hmm?
More like Dick Flair, am I right? Go on, I promise I'll control myself.
Okay. So Ric Flair chases her out of the locker room. And for some reason, their opponents for the evening, Joe Gomez and the Renegade, they hype this up for a bit beforehand. They're there for some reason. And so Flair and Anderson decide to just kick the shit out of him. And they do. And that is apparent. And apparently they were both sent to the hospital. So they need a replacement. And that pays off into the main event of the evening, where somehow this means that they get a World Tag Team Championship match with Sting and Luger as a replacement.
Yeah, sure. I guess if that's what works for you. I don't know why Sting's volunteering himself twice in an episode, but whatever.
Yeah, you see, I believe that part.
Does Sting tend to go hard like that?
I see him as the kind of like baby face who'd be like, yeah, take on all challengers. I'll do it. I'll fight again.
That's fair. It does kind of crack me up. Between his two matches, he does not touch up his makeup.
No, he's gotta let it continue to run off his face.
Yeah, I don't get why that's like a thing for him. I know I'm like, but like, dude, just put some powder on it. Why is it a thing that you let it run? Isn't the whole point of the face paint to, like, have it on?
What can I tell you, man? He does this. He's never changed about this.
Seriously?
His face paint has always been like this.
Even like nowadays, big edgy heel Sting, where he's got like the full face black and white.
He's not heel. He's never heel.
Oh, I thought just the way you described him makes him sound like he's heel.
Nah, emo boy Sting is still a babyface.
Oh, well, okay, well, it's either way, full face, black and white, everything, it still runs.
Yep.
Why? Is it like a metaphor?
If it is, I don't know. I don't know if I believe it's a metaphor, because I feel like wrestling is just as a writing trope is the personification of, I know writers who use subtext, they're all cowards.
Metaphors are for losers. Get that shit out of here.
Anyway, we'll cover the main event later, but that is the arc of the night of Debra McMichael with the arc of the night here.
Which, like, why would that be putting her husband's career on the line? Like maybe it could be that he gets too hurt to keep playing, I guess, but like it doesn't quite. Maybe I just was paying attention badly, but it almost didn't quite sound like she was as worried about him getting, like, career-endingly injured as it was like she was worried about him just getting, like, disgraced out of his trade if he lost.
Yeah, I'm not following this. I'm not really following this is like mortal danger aspect.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell it that way to make them, I guess, to kind of add a little dimension to the football players here, and kind of sell the idea that, like, football players shouldn't be getting in the ring with real wrestlers. But, like, I know the danger of wrestling, and I also know the danger of Ric Flair's style of wrestling in particular. He's going to be fine.
He'll be, yeah, seriously. Ric Flair is not he's not exactly a Pentagon Junior, as it were. He's a little more tame than that.
He's not a stone cold killer, all right? He's fine.
Again, tell me you've never watched wrestling without telling me you've never watched wrestling.
Yeah, him and R2, neither one of them are wrestlers that like they don't do a bunch of dangerous moves that I could believe like, oh shit, they might end somebody's career with this. Like, no, it's fine.
No, it's fine. It's always fine.
If they lose, then like they'll probably be hurting, but their careers will be fine. Don't worry about it.
Their egos will probably be more damaged by getting their ass kicked by a pompous, preening jackass like Ric Flair.
Yeah, more than their physical bodies, but
yeah,
you know, whatever sells the story. At least I just don't like they brought Debra into it to do it because oof,
it was so stupid. Oh god,
and that was like the plot thread of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. This episode didn't feel like particularly like strong to me story wise.
No, it was a very story light episode, and I feel like that was probably a situation where they're looking at it as the next pay-per-view, the Great American Bash, is 6 days from this episode. This is the last episode before that, so they seemed a lot more focused of being like, "Hey guys, here's the stuff that's going to go on at the Bash. Here's the storylines for that," than they were like making story progressions.
You know, maybe it's a little early in the episode for me to be saying this, but I almost feel like with at least with WCW thus far, it feels like the NWO stuff is the real big cool shit about this. And that's like the super compelling everything, and then everything surrounding it is just kind of like it's like passable, but it's so propped up by the fucking NWO framing that it all just gets like elevated in the history.
You could argue that.
I don't know. That is that I will say that
I will say it comes and goes and how much that happens.
I will also say this is less an objective like summation of the era as it is. I'm 2 episodes in, and like neither episode has like particularly impressed me, except the NWO shit has been really cool.
Yeah.
So that maybe, I mean, that's just me kind of throwing in my own 2 cents as 2 episodes in. Again, the noob talking out his ass here, but that's kind of how it is for me so far, because like this episode, almost every match was pretty darn. It was good. It felt like wrestling that if it were like translated into, you know, if it were airing in, you know, modern day, I could throw it on a lazy night and just kind of like vibe to watching it, and it'd be great. And then there's the NWO stuff to like really prop up the experience for me. But that's kind of like that's kind of it for me so far.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a low period of WCW right now. With the exception of the NWO stuff, is more. I think there are definitely periods where stuff is more compelling outside of that.
I mean, it almost makes sense, right? They have to be blowing their load on the NWO stuff, because like that is their era defining thing. Like, holy shit. And WCW like redefined the landscape by pulling this NWO crap. Like they did something really bold, really daring, really original. And so of course you're gonna focus like your very best resources into making that shit work. Above all else.
Yeah. It's like right now it feels like there's like 3 storylines going. It is like Luger Sting. 4, excuse me. Luger Sting, which is kind of on hold for the moment because Luger is busy with the Giant. That's the second one. And I don't even think that's it's not the most compelling work. It's especially as someone who's had to watch in between episodes. We're doing the same stuff, all right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, Sting's super talented. Luger is technically proficient. You know, they do good work, but are like super mind blowing, compelling. Yeah.
Yeah, Luger and Sting has better stuff later, but Luger and the Giant, there's, as I said, it's very one note at this point in time. It's very much Giant beats up people, tries to beat up Luger too.
I will say, I know I'm biased toward Big Show. I just enjoy him so much, but like, I like the Giant stuff. It's just fun to watch him stomp around and just kick people's ass and scream for Luger. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's one of those like simple pleasures that for me, I'm not compelled by it, but I'm like, yeah, this is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. Then everything going on with Ric Flair is the most consistent driving plot going on right now.
Ah, Christ.
Which I think it's pretty decent.
No, it is.
I'm having fun with it, but it's like middle, lower, give more stories to other people, and then you have the NWO stuff.
Yeah, and I mean now you have the Horsemen going on too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, is that I guess that's roped in with Ric Flair now.
It's all part of the Ric Flair like orbit of storylines that all revolve around having sex with women.
Ric Flair is the son. Oh God. But yeah, I mean the Ric Flair stuff I enjoy well enough, and it's cool to see Savage get kind of brought in on it. As I mean it's a nice little stroke, right? That in the as silly as it is that the NFL guys were snacking on Slim Jims, and all of a sudden, oh wait, who'd make a great coach for us?
We can get Savage.
And of course they bring in Savage, who definitely has some beef with Ric Flair. The little like
Slim Jim beef.
Not Slim Jim. True. We must be clear. It is not literal beef we're talking about here. Not the dried jerky stuff. No, but I mean it's kind of silly. It's kind of like fun silly that what was I gonna say? It's fun silly that what was I saying? That the randomness with which they called in Savage, even though Savage like very much has something to do with this storyline, like it's like it's simultaneously like serendipitous and like totally on purpose. Kind of a fun little paradox there.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's their reactions to Savage walking into their gym was kind of hilarious. Cause it's like, didn't you call him here? Why are you acting like, yeah, Savage? Woo,
I mean, to be fair, even if I called Randy Savage to be like, yo, train me to wrestle, when he actually showed up in the dojo, I'd be pretty fucking starstruck. To be fair, I'd be like, yeah, Savage.
No. But yeah, there's on that end of the storyline, there's not a lot of progression there. Not the same as last week with the whole like penetration get Savage thing. This week Savage is just like hyping him up, like, but we otherwise don't really see anything new from them.
Oh my God.
And then I guess let's go ahead and just talk about the NWO stuff for this week before we just like quickly cover through the matches.
Yeah. I mean, the NWO stuff for the week is pretty reserved to the end, right?
Yeah, it's like they did last week. Where Hall only showed up at the very end of the show, which is kind of smart in that way of like, that's clearly the most interesting thing going on right now. Put it at the end so everybody has to sit through the whole show for it.
Yeah.
Plus it's a great moment to kind of end the show on.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Like, oh shit, what's gonna happen?
Yeah,
what's going on?
I mean, the Bischoff plays really well. Like there's kind of this silly element to it where he's Bischoff selling his like fear of Hall a little cartoonishly. So you're kind of like, okay, yeah, this is obviously like a thing. But it is like, at least in a vacuum, it does make for some really great content. I love the dynamic of Bischoff being kind of exasperated with the fact that Hall's back and Hall just continuing to be smug about it. But then each time he has some new thing to actually like throw Bischoff off his balance a little bit.
Yeah. The first time him just showing up, then he did it again, but Sting showed up to confront him, and then this time, good old Kevin Nash, not Diesel, to be clear, totally not Diesel.
Totally not Diesel.
To be fair, it's much easier for them to get away with that argument with Nash because Diesel doesn't have the same distinct mannerisms that Razor Ramon does.
Yeah, I have to say, like they could have saved themselves a lot of legal trouble if they just like weren't getting Scott Hall in on this, because like it's so easy to just like very much make it that these characters are distinct or at least not direct ripoffs of their WWE counterparts when the characters are just like, generic strong dude who's kind of aggro. But with Scott Hall, who's literally just doing a fucking Scarface bit, all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a second. They're ripping us off.
Yeah, like Diesel obviously is a cartoony name to that and then coming out to the truck horns. But in terms of his like mannerisms and actions, a lot of it is just similar to Nash as a person. So it's super easy to play that off. I mean, Razor Ramon was a cartoon character.
Yes.
Like if Scott Hall's doing Razor,
Yeah, it's very clear. It'd be like getting Mick Foley out there doing literally any one of his personalities, right? Like,
and then trying to claim he's not ripping off one of the characters.
Yeah, just like, say really? I'm just Mick Foley, guys.
Yeah, it's like really.
Yeah, okay.
It's not buying that at all.
But I mean, the cool thing they do at this moment is, they have. Bischoff's kind of taunting Scott Hall and saying, "You promised a surprise. Where is it? You're all you said 3 guys. I only see 1 of you. You're all bark and no bite, buddy." And then again, kind of like how I said for the last New Generation episode we did. It was almost kind of this like Dora the Explorer thing of like Scott Hall starts pointing behind Bischoff, and Bischoff's like, "What? I'm right here. I'm right here. Why are you pointing? Why are you pointing, man?" And of course, the camera slowly starts to pan right, and we see Diesel, Kevin Nash, waltz into frame and just kind of cross his arms, and Bischoff's still playing dumb for another like 15 seconds.
Oh yeah, he really just kind of he really plays dumb on that bit of him clearly pointing behind him, and doesn't even consider turning around. I'm pretty sure Nash has to get his attention.
Yeah, he literally like snaps or something, which like you're playing into it a little hard there, Bischoff, but sure.
And we get Nash's famous line on this promo of Amigos. So this is where the big boys play, huh? Well, look at the adjective. Play. We ain't here to play.
And I didn't even know it was a famous line. I just kind of like when he said that, I leaned into the mic. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's a verb, Kevin.
Yeah. One of the most infamous botches in wrestling is him saying, "Look at the adjective. Look at the adjective. Play."
Oh my god! It makes me so happy, honestly.
No.
I loved that. It was so good.
Honestly, I loved the whole story, the whole thing from Nash, who did a great job of building off of Hall's trash talk. But man, no one remembers that shit. Everyone remembers looking at the adjective.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean the whole promo is great. There's something so iconic about Nash showing up, and another member of the NWO comes into place. I mean, there's just something magical about the story, even for someone like me who's not of the era and relatively new to the politics of this entire period. I can tell there's something just magical about the fact that he's showing up. Partially because the audience is losing its shit.
The fans are really into this.
What's really interesting to me about the fan reception here is that they don't treat Hall and Nash like heels. They're effectively like just acting as almost like an extension of WWE fans who are just losing their shit because our boys are here to crusade into WCW. It almost makes me kind of question like where the WCW fans' loyalties lie.
Yeah, I'm sure I wasn't going to bring this up until deeper into this NWO storyline, but if you look at the modern concept of like a heel that the fans like, the cool heel, if you will, the NWO is very, very emblematic of that, and you could argue that was part of the problem of the NWO were the ones that everybody liked. And they're supposed to be the good guys, and they're slowly kind of taking over the program because they're the most popular guys there, but they're supposed to be the bad guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get rid of. I don't want to like preempt any of your like talking points for later down this rabbit hole. But it does, from what I hear, seem like, as I'm sure is it partially thanks to that specific phenomena you just laid out. It seems like the NWO kind of comes to a point where it like starts to overplay its hand and gets really bloated, just because they're really banking off the early success of the concept.
Yes,
so
that's a very accurate summation of how that storyline played out.
Yeah, okay, but like that's the danger you always have with the fan perception acting as a variable in any of these sorts of storylines. Again, we saw this with Summer of Punk. But no matter how much that taints things later on, it is always super cool in the moment to just have like the roof fucking exploding when these early moments happen, and it's just blowing the fans' damn minds.
Oh yeah, I don't want to criticize the current moment of that to talk about the issues of that in a long-term sense, because I feel like
absolutely.
I feel like that's your responsibility as a person who's creating these shows to like work around that problem.
Well, yeah, no. Which for some reason wrestling writers seem really to struggle with.
If I know one thing about wrestling bookers is that they're very good at adapting.
Okay.
Not.
Yeah. He says with a very sincere face. God. But yeah. So yeah, Kevin Nash shows up, and they're just shitting on Eric Bischoff, and
it was so good. It's like, where's your three guys, huh? You can't find a paleontologist to make sure those fossils are cleared. You don't got enough.
Like Bischoff was kind of dressed a little paleontologist-y this episode. He's got like the jacket on.
He looks a little like Dr. Grant. He could do some Jurassic Park work here.
Yeah.
You don't got enough players not on the dialysis machine to field a team.
God. And of course Bischoff's like, no problem, boys. I can see about getting you hooked up with a match. I'll see what I can do. Absolutely. I'm gonna be in the offices tomorrow, actually, and in 6 days I'll get you a fight. If you want to show up and fight, I'll get it for you. He's just scared shitless, and it's great.
Yeah, he's kind of You can kind of sense he's scrambling to come up with an answer here, because suddenly now it's not just one asshole. Now it's like
and he knows if he says the wrong word, it's all of a sudden going to be these two guys just like unaliving him.
Yeah, like Nash showing up, I think, does a lot to kind of legitimize what Hall was trying to do those first 2 episodes. Because it comes like when it's just Hall, it can, if it had kept going longer, then it would have just come off like some like jackass trying to disrupt the show. But now that there's 2 of them, it feels like what Hall is saying actually has weight. This idea of like a fight in a war, and an invasion. Like it feels like it's more than just one guy trying to stir up shit.
Yeah, he's actually like, oh wait, he's actually got some legitimacy behind this. He's got compatriots. Oh no,
he's got a follow through, and it's like, oh shit, I guess I got to take this more seriously now.
Whoops.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, I didn't plan for this one. Yeah, okay, I guess got to meet the demands or else. So yeah. Absolutely. It was a great moment. Really, really gratifying to see. Kevin Nash make a surprise appearance where he actually like has a positive impact on the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and good call to like debut them separately. Like I think that was a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, no, again, I mentioned the slow burn in the first half, and I think that's absolutely true. Like, it does allow for an air to build up, like you said. You know, at first Scott Hall shows up, and is this big, crazy surprise thing. Like, what is Razor Ramon doing here? And you know, everybody gets a chance to process that, and then you know, we allow that some time for Bischoff to be like, okay, now you get out of here, you're full of shit, your bark's worse than your bite. What are you gonna do, really? And then Kevin Nash shows up, and it escalates the threat, and all of a sudden, oh, this is actually like gonna be a thing, and oh boy, he actually has the power to recruit people, and what's gonna happen from here? So it's got a nice pacing to it, I think.
Yes, it does. And the reveal, 2 men down. When will we get the third guy? I already know when, but that's a rhetorical question-ish, because we know where this goes. Isn't it great to be able to see the future?
AKA live in the future and just you know, have the power of the internet.
Great. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at now. Is now there's 2 guys, but they keep saying they keep asking for 3. So you know, that becomes the question: is who is the third man?
Who is the third man? It's I wonder who it is.
Who
it's
could
such
it
a
be?
mystery. Yeah. So yeah, good shit all around. Absolutely.
Yep. So let's just go ahead and run through the matches then, because of what we got left here. Is I mentioned Steiner and Booker T. You know, good match.
Oh, that was really quality. Booker T was like weirdly cat-like. I noticed he does a lot of shit where he ends up landing on his feet where you wouldn't imagine he would.
Yeah, this is like Booker T kind of bulks up over the course of his career. Like this is him at his most nimble and life. And he plays it well. Like they play it as they play it very basically of like Booker T, while he is pretty strong dude, you know, he's no Scott Steiner in comparison. Scott Steiner is built like a brick house.
Yeah, so seriously, he's got like the perfect, you know, Dorito ratio on
Dorito body.
Everything. Yeah.
So it's very much like, you know, he can't quite go power for power, but he is faster than Steiner. But of course, the problem with Steiner is also that he was a legitimate amateur wrestling talent. So like he can also win technical wrestling besides being able to just like throw you around.
Yeah. Despite what his promo cutting may say about his intellect, he's actually got a decent brain for strategy. And I did appreciate throughout the match, like the commentary is talking about like they're strategizing against each other, and I can't remember all that. I can't really remember it off the top of my head, but they are like pulling these little like tricky maneuvers on each other and seem to be able to like bounce off, you know, the other's momentum, you know, use each other's own kind of strength and speed and what have you against them.
Yeah, it really feels like 2 wrestlers who have know each other and have done the homework. And so it's a very evenly matched back and forth kind of a match.
Yeah, I mean, Booker T, just from what I've encountered of him, is a personality in wrestling I hugely respect for just how dedicated he seems to the craft, endlessly dedicated to the craft, and even in his early days, the fact that he's showing it off this well is awesome. It was super cool. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Just anytime he pops up, I get a nice little smile on my face.
It's fun. It's fun getting to watch like pre-crisis Scott Steiner and pre-crisis Booker T.
Pre-crisis.
I like the term for early versions of wrestlers.
Nerd.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, Steiner gets the win because Booker T goes for a big move off the top, but he misses, and Steiner just picks him up and suplexes him over his head, and is like, all right, I'm winning now.
And commentary is like, they're both so fast.
Yeah, it was the Pet Boy Power Pin of the week.
Yeah, even though it was the first
match, bold,
it's the first pin of the week. Yeah,
bold claim, and I think they ended up getting it right, but still bold move.
Yeah, that was probably like the most like technically enticing match to watch. I think from the get go, they really kind of played the good shit early.
Yeah, and then next match was DDP with his knockoff Nirvana song. Legally Distinct Smells Like Teen Spirit. And taking on Jim Powers, who is a guy. I don't really have anything to say about Jim Powers at all.
Is he a jobber or is he legit?
He's probably as close to a jobber as you're going to get.
Okay.
On this show, like I don't think he's a proper jobber. I'm pretty sure he's won matches before, but he's not important even a little bit. He is
unimportant.
He is here to lose to DDP.
Yeah, he's here to do his damn job.
Yeah, get hit with the diamond cutter.
Yeah, DDP was fine, I guess. He's not really doing anything right now. I accept that. Yeah, I wasn't super invested in that match. I was just kind of like, okay. Again, I could throw it on in the background, just kind of slouch down, cross my arms, and be like this. Maybe fold some laundry while I'm watching or something, and be like, yeah.
Like they're trying to they're trying to kind of have it both ways with DDP, and that they're hyping him up as having won the Battle Bowl, calling him the Lord of the Ring. But then they also did the storyline where they stripped him of having the actual title match. So it's like he has no real direction right now. So he's just kind of winning matches.
It does kind of delight me that they're making a Lord of the Rings reference, in the 80s before, the film trilogy blew up. Like, it was still enough of a thing and a recognizable enough piece of pop culture. They were still saying that shit even then.
Oh yeah, they're gonna call someone the Lord of the Ring, like they don't know what they're doing there.
Yeah. So yeah, it was fine.
Diamond, yeah. DDP gets the win.
Naturally.
I don't know if I'll remember the promo stuff. I mean, I remember who had promos, but I don't really remember what order when those happened.
They weren't super memorable.
No.
Aside from the McMichael stuff.
Yeah. Like Big Bubba had a promo where he was cutting up the hair that he's been holding on to for 2 weeks. Great.
Why are we so fixated on the hair? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know why they've made this whole storyline about hair. Hopefully they have a hair versus hair match. I hope that's a match they're about to have. Or else why?
Yeah.
Hair versus hair match being loser gets their head shaved is the rule of the match.
But they've already halfway done that, so what's the point?
To get the other half.
Yeah, well, I mean, probably the real proper point would...
Yeah, catharsis being he cuts Bubba's hair.
Yeah, the real point's probably going to be, Bubba loses and gets, fucking balded.
Mm-hmm. What others promo? I mean, I'll go and do all the promo package stuff. All that stuff was just recaps of what we've already seen / stuff I talked about. We had one for the Taskmaster and Benoit. We had one for they had one hyping up Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio that was just them doing their cool moves. That was pretty sweet.
I mean, it's wild to see baby Mysterio.
Oh yeah, very young Rey Mysterio.
I know, what the hell.
He looks even smaller than normal.
Yeah, he does. He's very, very small boy. The Hogan ego stroke package. It wasn't as long as last week's, but ego was stroked.
Ego. We're definitely praising Hogan for existing.
Yeah, no timetable on that return though. It's just
we're all just like Bischoff and co are just constantly nutting that wrestling Jesus himself has like been kind enough to grace them with his presence.
Nutting, but not the big nut, because that's Randy Savage.
I don't get that. Why? What does it mean?
I don't know why they started calling him the big nut either, but I'm gonna keep laughing about it. This is the this is the Macho Man nickname that never caught on.
I can think
the
of
big nut.
Nuts.
Oh yeah, I'm the big nut. Oh yeah, the top cashew.
No. Stop it right now. God. Yeah, I don't know why they keep calling Randy Savage the big nut. Okay. I guess we just have to live with that for a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna have fun with it while I can.
God.
Let's see.
What else?
I'm pretty sure that's all the major video package stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, move on back to the match stuff, and we can be done. Sting versus Ming. Wow, didn't think it did that rhyming before.
I didn't realize Dr. Seuss booked this match.
I can't do Seuss rhymes, so that's the end of that joke.
And then this corner, the Valiant Sting, the natural opponent, of course, to the Ming Mad Ming. I don't know. The Ming Mad Ming. It's close enough.
We tried.
Look. Give me a couple hours and a pen and some paper, and I'll have a whole knockoff parody book cooked up about this. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Save that for the next time we do in WCW. Bring that up again.
Yeah.
So the Stinger, get to sing his theme, have some fun. Play it. He has a pretty basic match with Ming. He gets the W. You'd think Sting's only match of the night, but no.
Nope, he steps up to that plate to go up against good old Ricky.
Yep. And then here we go. One of two matches on the night was not a fan of. We got Jim Duggan and Squire David Taylor. I've been talking so much mad shit about Jim Duggan on this podcast, but David hasn't got to experience that until today.
See, the Jim Duggan-ness of it all was kind of like unpronounced relatively, but I could like still feel the secondhand cringe of it all. I just don't understand like why their big Murica boy also leans into being a fucking idiot.
I don't quite know why either.
It feels like accidental ironic commentary, but like why?
Also accidental ironic commentary of the fact that he cheats to win and everybody lets him get away with it.
Yeah, I know. But it strikes me that both of these matches, I think, where we weren't fans, we're just here like ref.
What are you doing?
Oh God, we're what's his face from New Generation.
Oh God.
Or what's his face? Fuck. The other NFL dude who worked with WWF.
Oh yeah, Walter Payton.
Walter Payton. Yeah. Austin and I were being Walter Payton over here. Like he's just doing shit and getting away with it, and the ref just doesn't seem to care. And poor Squire is just kind of like bearing the brunt of it, and we're just like ref. Tengo preguntas.
So it's a very blah match of Duggan doing his Duggan stuff. A lot of yelling ho, and then everybody does it with him, and him doing USA chants.
He really does carry a 4x4, doesn't he?
Yeah, he carries that big stick. I'd assume that's a clever Teddy Roosevelt joke, but also I doubt it.
I don't know. All I could think
he
of
certainly doesn't speak softly, so that can't be it.
You know, all I could think of when he like walked out was like, man, did I wonder if like Pokemon stole this design for Timber? You know that one like fighting type clown Pokemon who carries around the 4x4 or whatever? Like that's what we got here.
I'm gonna have to look into that. See how that
he's one of my faves. I just think it's delightful. But yeah, it's literally just that where he's got it like, you know, he's up on the shoulder and he's got the flag in the other hand, and it's like, oh boy, this certainly is Murica.
Yeah,
but it's like stupid surface level Murica, where the Murica we get is like dumb redneck, has flag, and carries wood.
Like I said, he's one-dimensional and boring even for a Murica gimmick.
Yeah, at least it's not like horribly aggressively offensive like some other Murica characters we've encountered here. But dear lord.
And I think the part that gets to me the most is how stupid ass popular he is. Like, it works as well as literally anything else on the show.
I mean, it's the 80s. What do you expect?
It's 96.
Oh shit, it is 96. Why do I think it's 80s? I don't know. It's 96. What do you expect?
Probably because it fits in the 80s, which he was in the WWF at the time.
Yeah. Was he stupid popular there too?
Yep.
Well, there you go.
He's always been very, very popular doing this exact thing.
Does he still get like looked back on fondly?
Yes. People still look back fondly on Jim Duggan, and it's like, no, he sucked.
Why? Okay. Well, this I always appreciate when Austin spews the hot takes that'll like really get some hardcores pissed off with us, because that means I get a break for once.
Yeah. So yeah, the match is a whole lot of whatever until suddenly Jim Duggan pulls a roll of tape out of his shorts and starts taping his fist up. And then he punches Squire David Taylor in the face with the fist. And again, the ref sees him tape his fist up. The rolling tape is literally hanging off of his hand. And the ref does nothing about this, and just
as he has Squire pinned, the ref is looking and counting on the side that the like tape hand is on. And he literally, when he declares Jim Duggan the victor, he holds him up by the tape hand.
Yep. The ref makes zero effort to actually, enforce the rules and just lets Duggan do this.
Why?
I don't get it either. I don't know why they decided this was the character direction for Jim Duggan. But whatever. It happened. Let's moving on. The Giant fought Scott Norton. Well, it wasn't as fast as he killed Ice Train, but close.
Pretty close.
Yeah, he murders Scott Norton, and then what after the match? He didn't do that again. I forget how the match at the end of this match goes.
Like
I'm pretty sure he attacked somebody else.
Yeah, I think the two of them just take it outside the ring. I think it's the same guy. I'm pretty sure they.
Oh yeah. You're right. He chokeslams him on the floor, and that basically was like, well, good night. And from there, everybody ran out, and then he kind of was like, well, my work here is done.
Yeah, pretty much. It was
the Luger thing happens.
Yeah, the Luger thing
comes out, and then they like tear up Ric Flair's fancy feast table.
I know,
hanging out there. Like I said, he spent a bunch of Randy Savage's money on that.
He's getting a good return on his investment, I have to say.
Yeah.
God. So yeah, rip the feast table before Flair can dig into it. Although I really have to question how often he actually eats those feasts. But as in me,
whatever. I mean, who are you to doubt the Nature Boy?
True. Very true. How could I? It's a true sin on my part.
So they go fighting, and eventually the Dungeon comes out to support this Giant, and that's what makes Luger leave. And as I said, what a great sign of the Dungeon of Doom right now. Of like, you have the Giant, he's the world champion, great. Then you got the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan, Jimmy Hart, Ming. You have Hugh Morris, Big Bubba Rogers. Like what a great collective of guys you got left.
I still don't. Hugh Morris. What? I still have so much trouble wrapping my head around that one specifically. What?
Do you want to know what they changed his name to when Vince Russo showed up?
Oh Christ! What?
Hugh G. Rection.
You know what? No, I'm out. I'm done. No, podcast is canceled. I can't do this anymore, dude. I'm fucking done. We can't even. This is ridiculous. This is insane. What? Okay, I'm back.
All right. Yes, that's WCW under Vince Russo was a hell of a time for very much a story for another time.
Oh,
but what a time. Was Hugh Rection. But for now, it's just Hugh Morris.
Vince Russo makes me sad. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's how that ends. And then we get Lord Steven Regal destroying poor Billy Kidman in under a minute.
Yep.
Billy Kidman.
I mean, all hail the tea drinker. May we forever bask in his glory, us unworthy peasants.
He is here to destroy all the filthy, crappy wrestlers. And because he is bringing dignity and respect back to wrestling.
I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm a really stupid Anglophile. I'm hugely in the tank for Lord Steven Regal. I don't know why.
Steven Regal is great.
He is great. I love him. I don't know. Growing up with a British grandpa really like makes you a sucker for this kind of bullshit.
Hey, and he also has fantastic facial expressions, as we see when Sting shows up after the match, and he slaps Steven Regal one time, and Regal was just like sitting there, like.
Yeah,
like he's a complete buffoon, and it's amazing.
It's great, and like that smug little smile he gives whenever he calls people peasants. He just seems so pleased with himself, and I'm like, yeah, you do you, buddy.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. The Public Enemy versus the Nasty Boys.
It sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. Up there with Jim Duggan, I hate the Nasty Boys.
Yeah, somehow that's already come up once in the fucking Wrestlelicious episode.
I forget how I brought.
Because one of the Nasty Boys showed up, probably as a favorite of Jimmy Hart.
Oh yeah. He was in the "Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader" parody. I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
Yeah. Anyway, this match. Listen. So, the Nasty Boys aren't very good. I know that they were popular with the fans of the time. I don't know how, but they were.
They're terrible.
But also the Public Enemy. So, I'm going to preface this by saying that hardcore wrestling is as much an art form as any other type of professional wrestling. However, it's also the easiest to do if you're not good at wrestling. Or at least the easiest to be popular with, you can throw a shitty clothesline, or you can hit someone with a chair. One of those is going to be significantly more popular than the other. And so there are some wrestlers, I would say, they do hardcore wrestling because they aren't that good at anything else. Anyway, the Public Enemy. They're stupid. They suck, and their dance moves are lame.
They wear hockey jerseys.
They wear hockey jerseys. I did appreciate that. Yeah, it's the 69 one.
Yeah. So one of them is 69 on the back, and the other just says 00. And I made the comment to Austin of wow, they could only think of one funny 2-digit number. So the other, they just like threw up their hands and did 2 zeros instead.
They should have figured out a way to like try to get a third one to do 420.
Yeah, I know.
But the match is complete nonsense because the ref doesn't do shit until the end.
The whole thing is messy. The entire match is messy.
Yep, it is a messy ending, but also the whole match.
Yeah, a messy ending, but also the whole match. Beautiful.
Yeah, they're punching and they're throwing weapons at each other, and then it ends when Rocco Rock of the Public Enemy leaves the match to go get a fucking trash can. And then he chucks the trash can at one of the Nasty Boys, and the ref calls a DQ.
Yeah, that's what finally gets the DQ. Not the constant breaking of rules beforehand. Not the fact that they're completely like just shitting on the tag team rules the entire time. Oh no, it was the trash can that took it too far. It was the Danny DeVito. It was.
Yeah, I have become the thing I hate. A person who complains about rules in a tag team match.
I can't even hate that sort of behavior. Like you gotta have structure, dude. I don't know.
Just gonna go la 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 and go watch some Young Bucks matches. But anyway, God.
Yeah, it was infuriatingly stupid and a drag and dumb.
And I probably wouldn't complain about it nearly as much if it wasn't so fucking long.
Why was it so long? How long did that match run?
11 minutes, 30 seconds. The second longest match on the show.
It went through like 2 ad breaks.
It went through at least 1 ad break. And it's so bad.
It's so unnecessary.
The only thing I'm happy I didn't have to watch was the spot where the Nasty Boys will like stick their opponents into their armpits.
You know what? It's the small mercies.
Yeah, because that's you get the joke of that, but it's also stupid.
It's really.
And I'm glad I didn't have to, see it. But yeah, otherwise,
stupid, bad. About 30 seconds in, I got the gist of it, and then I had to watch for another 11 fucking minutes.
Yep. Nope, it was awful. I hate both these teams, to be honest.
True. May we never have to curse our eyeballs with them again.
It can't even be, at least in ECW, the Public Enemy was actually putting people through tables all the time. So, at least there's that.
Respectable.
But, here they're not doing as many table spots. They're not doing any in this match. So then it's like, why am I here? Why am I watching you?
Yeah, what's the point?
Anyway, the main event where the WCW brass rewarded Arn Anderson and Ric Flair for beating the shit out and hospitalizing their opponents by giving them a world title match with the champions. They're Sting and Luger.
Yeah, I gotta say the company's got a really interesting like tournament business model here of I guess the worse you fuck up your opponents, the more respectable you are as a title contender.
Like, yeah, this is perfect. That explains why the Giant keeps destroying everybody. He's got to show himself. Why
the Giant keeps destroying everybody. Explains why they're ultimately cool with letting Scott Hall and Kevin Nash unsolicited show up and threaten to just kind of murk some of their best talent.
Mm-hmm. Because they actually enjoy watching that chaos.
Yeah, more blood for the blood god. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, WCW sacrifices to a blood god. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
All checks out. So Luger and Sting and Arn and Rick. It's pretty solid considering. Not surprising considering all 4 men involved.
Legends, yeah, no, all technically very, very gifted performers. And yeah, it just plays off well. I don't have all that much in-depth commentary to add to this one. They just do their work and they do it well, and it's nice to see. It's just the cool thing about visiting eras like these is it's fun to see like some of the history's most historic figures do their thing in their prime, or for, as you said, for Rick, a bit past his prime, and just kind of get an appreciation for why they are viewed the way they are. That was just kind of what this match was for me, of seeing all of that come together. And the main interesting thing for me is that we didn't really get like any of the character tiff between Sting and Luger.
Yeah, they seem to have backed off of that for the moment, I guess, to kind of like focus on the stuff with the Giant. I'm assuming that's why they made that kind of decision.
But like, I don't even know why they would back off that for the Giant stuff when the Giant doesn't show up until like after the match is called, and like they could still very easily play into that great rift happening while still, bringing the Giant in and making a thing out of it. I don't know.
I think
it was slightly weird they set it aside so flagrantly.
Yeah, they don't really touch on it at all. That was kind of disappointing. Yeah, but I did enjoy. I enjoyed Flair and Anderson just kind of flopping around like cartoon characters when they were on the defensive. That's one of their funny. That's like so funny to me. Is watching.
Oh God,
I love Ric Flair begging when he's on his knees begging for mercy.
I know. I love watching Ric Flair go from this like, smug ass domineering, ultimate motherfucker, to just this,
then takes one punch.
This mewling, cowering little shit, who couldn't who doesn't have the dignity to be a piece of shit on the bottom of his opponent's boot. Like it's so great, right? For the legendary heel to kind of have that ultimate version of the archetype going.
Yeah. Flair is great. This match does also end in a DQ because the Giant shows up to ruin the day.
Yeah, of course. And then it gets really messy, doesn't it? A whole bunch of people.
Yeah, it was a redux of last week, and so that disappointed me. That it just kind of did the same thing again, except this time Scott Steiner brought out a wooden ass chair, and they clocked the Giant in the head with it a couple of times.
They say all chairs are created equal.
Oof. It also weirdly ends in the Giant having more dignity than the last time. Like when it was the three of them last week with no chair, they kind of like throw him out of the ring, and then he's like, all right, I'm leaving. And then this week he like takes the chair shot, but then he like stands tall to keep fighting them, and then decides to leave. I was like, okay, they came off stronger last time.
Yeah,
switch that around.
I mean, it is. Again, I'm biased toward Big Show slash Giant. I'm cool with him having the dignity here.
Mm-hmm. And then that ends is when we go off air. We start doing the NWO stuff as we go.
Yeah, which was dope as hell, as we already said.
Yeah, so that's our episode of the week. Not one of the stronger ones. They were. I felt very much like they were in a holding pattern for the Great American Bash. Everything's set, so they're just like, we're gonna cruise control our way to the finish line, but with one big thing with one big story beat to follow of the NWO stuff.
And it'll be real exciting to see that play out. I mean, it's interesting to me too because we've hit in the past month multiple anniversaries, as it were, because we had the Hulk Hogan showing up to NWO anniversary recently, and before that we had the Pipe Bomb promo anniversary.
I guess just a lot of these.
Yeah, it's 10 years for the pipe bomb, 25 for the NWO start.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that like both of these very huge moments in like wrestling media, meta commentary, whatever, happened about 15 years apart. Within a month of each other.
Yeah,
and they're both, after we've covered, the former extensively and the latter as the start of a whole new saga. It's kind of cool that we have that we are celebrating both of those. They're landmark anniversaries for both around the time for us. I don't know. I'm just getting a kick out of that.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think that's pretty cool too. Getting to talk about this stuff like in this anniversary year at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even if I didn't time it out to where we could get it a little more precise, definitely, I think that's definitely a cool aspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, do I want to wait till 2024 to talk about the Daniel Bryan story? Get it on the 10-year anniversary though.
Oh God, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I'll think about it. Anyway, next time. It's time to return to, speaking of like interesting anniversaries, is today was the 6-year anniversary of the birth of the women's revolution, which I'm not going to talk about that segment for a couple more months of this, but it's time to return to NXT. Charlotte Flair is still the champion, beating Bayley at NXT TakeOver Fatal 4-Way, but Sasha Banks has clearly positioned herself as a top challenger going forward, and it's kind of the question of where we go from here as we build to NXT TakeOver Our Evolution.
Yes! Oh, I'm so excited. It's so good and makes me happy.
Yeah, very excited to see that. Get back to that.
Come on. Come on, no. Austin, no. Austin, no. Well, Austin's dead. Hey, home listener, how you doing? It's been a while since we've talked. It's we're having a grand old time here on the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. Please ignore all of the. Oh, you're back.
I am back. Okay.
Anyway,
you're still frozen, but I can hear you. So hit the plugs, please.
Yes. Oh, God Christ. Okay. Hello, friends. Whether I'm frozen or moving, either way, we greatly appreciate you joining us once again for another installment of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. If you're a returning listener, thank you so much for once again welcoming us back into your eardrums. We are absolutely delighted to have you continue to join us week after week. If you are a first-time listener, viewer, what have you, welcome. We are delighted to have you, and we hope to have you back sometime. If you would like to continue to keep joining us for these wild, wacky stories, and you're not entirely sure how to do so, I will tell you. First of all, you can find us on YouTube. Subscribe to us. We are the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, make sure it goes all solid colored and everything, all that good stuff. Make sure you get those notifications every time we drop a new episode. Check out our wonderfully organized story arc playlist if you want to follow dedicatedly any one of our storylines all the way through. Austin is kind enough to organize all of those into individual playlists on the YouTube page. Add us to your playlist in whatever damn order you please. And those comments, those likes, all that good stuff. We love it. You can also find us on 3 of the best places to find your podcast, which are Spotify, Apple, and Google. Give us those ratings, give us those follows, download our stuff so you can listen to us offline, all that good stuff. That's kind of like one of the main best ways to join us. We love getting that audio participation from everybody. And just the little things you can do to boost our metrics, tell the algorithm, hey, these guys are pretty cool, is always greatly appreciated. You can also find us on social media. First of all, mainly on our Twitter at Noobs and Knox Pod. That's Noobs, the letter N, Knox Pod. You can talk to you can check out our all of our wonderful tweets. We engage with the broader wrestling fandom on as a whole. We tweet out all these great little insights and memes times and everything. We post every time a new episode drops, and Austin is kind enough to live tweet his wrestling viewing experience. My friend, what is coming up on the docket this week?
Yes, so as always, I live tweet AEW Dynamite every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on TNT because it is the one most consistent thing that I watch live. So why don't we just turn all my wrestling viewership into content? So coming up this week will be AEW Fighter Fest Night 2. They're on their return to the road. They're doing they're doing themed shows every single week. Should be very exciting. I was trying to pull up what matches are on the card, but I didn't think of that until just now. So sorry. I'll have that for the next one. But as always, I do keep up with WWE and Impact as well. So every time we have an Impact, WWE or AEW pay-per-view, we'll also live tweet that as well. This time, coming out the day that this drops, July 18th, is Money in the Bank 2021. 10 years since Money in the Bank 2011, obviously, we've covered on this show. Should be a very fun show. Right now, our match card is the Money in the Bank ladder match for a world championship match opportunity between Ricochet, the former Prince Puma, John Morrison, the former Johnny Mundo, Matt Riddle, Drew McIntyre, Big E, Kevin Owens, King Shinsuke Nakamura, and Seth Rollins, all phenomenally talented wrestlers. Should be a fantastic match. Then we also have the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match for a Women's Championship match between Asuka, Naomi, Alexa Bliss. She's been on this show, but not anywhere close to the same character. Nikki Cross, Liv Morgan, Zelina Vega, Natalya Neidhart, and one other person to be determined.
Nice.
But for the WWE Championship will be Big Bobby Lashley, the almighty champion, versus Kofi Kingston. Can still rooting for Kofi to become WWE champion again. Would be
please.
Rhea Ripley, the champion, the Raw Women's Champion, taking on Charlotte Flair. We have Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief. Acknowledge
him.
Against Edge. And then we have the Raw Tag Team Championship match. AJ Styles and Almost the champions taking on the Viking Raiders. Eric and Ivar. Their character is what you think it is. That is what we have right now as of this date of recording. There is still, as of this recording, there's still one episode of Friday Night SmackDown to go that will probably finish up a couple of small details. But for now, that is what we have.
Nice.
And you can watch that on Peacock. I explained the Peacock pricing earlier in the episode, but that does air live at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Indeed. So be sure to check all of that out. If not the episodes themselves, at the very least, Austin's wonderful little live tweets. He always puts out some really great observations, funny, insightful, all that good stuff. Be sure to check it out. It is awesome. You can also email us. We have a Gmail account. It is noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. That is noobs, the word and at this time, knockoutspod@gmail.com. Pop in, say hi, tell us what you think of the show, give us suggestions of things you want to see future on the show. Just tell us how lovely our voices are. All any sort of interaction. We just love it when people say hi, and we would love to say hi back to you. And finally, you can subscribe to us on our Patreon. We are also the Noobs and Knockouts podcast on Patreon. $1 a month gets you early access to episodes and a shout out at the end of each episode.
See you guys next time.
Hasta luego.